Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Star Wars Jedi Survivor video, and the first one I've done since the Game Awards, where of course we got the grand gameplay trailer and the official release date for Jedi Survivor, which was March 17th, 2023, and we got some unbelievable look at gameplay. The graphics look phenomenal in this game, and it seems like there are many improvements and evolutions of the gameplay that we enjoyed so much in Fallen Order. The first examples are something as simple as using the force grab to bring your opponents right in front of you and block lasers or to move them into the path of lasers. Now we can also grab one of the irritating heavy enemies with their rotating cannon and their shield, and instead of just using them as a human shield, you can turn them round using the force and have them return fire onto their own troopers. There is also the use of a grappling hook to help with traversal and can only improve level design even more because it just adds another level of verticality and ways to traverse the environment. We didn't get too much on the plot details side. We saw this figure, whether this is a clone or whether this is an ancient Jedi or a person of major importance falling out of the Bacta tank, we don't know, but we probably won't get answers on topics like that, or why Seer left Cal, and why she's now got her own small Jedi archives on what could be Bogano, one of the planets we could visit in Fallen Order, but also could be a range of planets because we are going to be visiting planets both old and completely new throughout Jedi Survivor. Another addition to gameplay was the creatures. While there are more creations that we'll have to take down as Cal, there are also some that will become our companions that we can ride around and attack stormtroopers on, or if we can use some winged creatures to help us get around the environment even faster, like a glider. There seems to be a much more of a variety of enemies because yes, we saw B1 battle droids, we saw super battle droids, and we even saw Magna Guards at different points in the trailer, and that raises so many questions of why they're there. You see some B1 battle droids holding melee weapons, so whether they'll have the same programming as the scout troopers from Fallen Order, we'll have to see. Hopefully their attacks have been changed up completely. And we even have this helmeted enemy that we face that seems to have a lightsaber very similar to Cal's. Hello, it's future editing me now. If you look closely at the enemy's saber here, it is actually clearly Cal's Crossguard lightsaber. There's some slight extra detailing towards where the saber itself pops out, which we see later on in the trailer when Cal uses it, expands to form the Crossguard. So whether this is still just the enemy stealing Cal's lightsaber, or this is where Cal gets his Crossguard saber from, that we don't know, but we do know that that enemy right there is wielding the Crossguard saber, and it's orange, so we will be able to customize that as well. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was of course the Crossguard saber and how that is going to affect gameplay in Jedi Survivor, because we got a little bit more information on the PlayStation blog where they give a little rundown on Jedi Survivor after the trailer was released. So first of all, this blog post tells us that Cal faces threats old and new, with friends by his side as he takes a stand as one of the last remaining Jedi in the galaxy. So old threats potentially could be Malicos returning, or more likely, the Ninth Sister, the Inquisitor who we fight on Kashyyyk. And of course we remove one of her limbs and send her crashing through the jungle, but we don't see her die, not the same as the Second Sister. So I have absolutely no doubt that she will be returning at some point. Whether she's still an Inquisitor or not is a completely different story, but I am certain we'll run into her again and she'll be back with a vengeance. So the blog continues by saying, picking up 5 years after Jedi Fallen Order, Cal is no longer a Padawan and continues to grow as a Jedi, and that Cal is lucky to have his trusty droid BD-1 at his side, along with a cast of fresh and familiar faces to aid him on his adventures, which includes the new guy that we see, as well as of course Seer, the familiar face. Now whether it's the new grappling hook or mounts that enable fresh ways to adventure and reach new heights, Cal is more equipped than ever to face what's ahead of him, which is exactly like I said earlier. The mounts, the flying creatures especially, are going to help massively with traversal, and the grappling hook just means that the developers can have even more fun with their game design. And for a planet like Coruscant, who we saw Coruscant in the official reveal trailer, not at the Game Awards, from further back in the year, if we get to go down into Coruscant's underlevels, having a grappling hook means that they could make the entire hub area extremely detailed, and we'd still be able to get around it without simply taking a lift or going through a loading screen. But the most exciting thing here is the fact that combat is getting refreshed too, with all new advanced combat stances that allow players to forge their own fighting identity as Cal. From dual lightsabers for lightning fast duels to the Crossguard stance that readies Cal for tough new enemies, there are even more ways for every player to define how they play. So we see in the trailer, we see Cal fighting with dual sabers, and we of course see him fighting with just his simple lightsaber. But thankfully, rather than in Jedi Fallen Order, where you only got the split sabers in pretty much the last mission of the game, and so it was assigned to simply one special attack, or two special attacks, depending on whether you were using a double saber or a single saber at the time. This is huge, the fact that we will be able to permanently fight with the dual sabers, or this new Crossguard saber, which of course we've seen in the High Republic, in Star Wars Rebels, and post-Cal, of course there is Kylo Ren with his Crossguard. So it seems that the Crossguard stance will be a stance with heavier attacks, as it says it readies Cal for tough new enemies, and if you consider how Kylo fights with the lightsaber, he uses it to overpower his enemies with sheer force and unrelenting force. So potentially the Crossguard will have slower attacks or larger sweeping attacks, but they could do more damage, while your dual lightsabers will be a constant barrage of non-stop attacks. And if you wanted to compare the stances to games we've seen and played already, the two that I will immediately go to are God of War and Ghost of Tsushima, because in God of War you start off with your Leviathan axe, and then of course, and this won't be any spoilers for God of War Ragnarok, but in the first God of War reboot, Kratos then pulls out the Blades of Chaos, and you use them as an all-new attack, and it works on certain enemies a lot more effectively than the axe did. So then as you continue through the story, you can choose how you want to approach each combat scenario. And with Ghost of Tsushima you had the stone stance, you had water stance, essentially multiple stances that had different pros and cons, different drawbacks, but also were specially crafted for certain enemy types that you would be able to disarm and destroy most effectively once you knew which stances were the best choice. So this could be the same here. We haven't seen the double lightsaber that Cal crafts on Ilum that can split, but the Crossguard stance, the regular stance, but there are at least dual lightsabers for very fast combat, and Crossguard stance for more heavy combat, at least a third for your regular stance, and then double-bladed lightsaber can be thrown in there as well. But that is all for this video. I just wanted to talk about how lightsaber combat has completely evolved from Fallen Order, and it seems to be a completely different animal, and I cannot wait to see more gameplay revealed. There is only 3 months now until Jedi Survivor releases, so how much they're still going to show us? We got a full gameplay demo before Fallen Order released. So whether they'll do the same here and they'll show us a little bit of a hub world and a bit of the exploration and new gameplay and the grappling hook of course in the 3 months leading up to Jedi Survivor's release. Part of me hopes so, but part of me cannot wait to experience the full thing so soon after this huge reveal gameplay trailer. So leave a like if you are excited for this game, leave a comment below whether you would prefer to dual wield all the time or use the Crossguard. That's basically a question of how much you're a fan of Kylo Ren and how much you want to live the fantasy of being a Jedi with a Crossguard saber. Subscribe to the channel because of course there'll be more Jedi Survivor videos coming out leading up to its release and after its release. Thank you very much for watching this video, and hopefully I will see you next time.